Hello, everybody, back to the desk. Mars One here. I'm still here, but I've got some beautiful people with me. The man, always in the middle. Sam, initialize how good. Sir, welcome back. Hello, sir. How are you?
Good to be here. I'm hoping I am audible and visible in equal measure.
He's enjoying his time in Berlin right now.
He said words that I think were internet issues, but it's fine. Temporal, hello, how are you? So welcome back. First broadcast of the year for you.
First LJL back. It always feels good.
The summer split, yes.
Suffering with heat, suffering with hay fever, and suffering that summer sickness of the durability patch. I'm really enjoying it, but it's everywhere.
Yeah, another team that might be suffering with the durability patch is DFM, because they got their first loss coming into this split, and it was versus Sengoku Gaming, who seemed to not come down with the sickness for themselves. Sengoku Gaming obviously continue their win streak over Crest Gaming Act moments beforehand, though DetonatioN FocusMe are one of the main teams for this match. The other team who, I'll be honest, I just think 12.x has been a bad patch for them. Yeah. And that's V3 Esports. Tempora, I want to come over to you. What hope do we have for V3 to continue a new streak?
Not this game.
Oh, all right.
To be honest, so we had some trouble getting VODs yesterday, so I haven't actually seen the V3 game. However, Initialize went out of his way.
Missed nothing.
I did.
Very rare. Initialize goes out of his way to be like, hey, no, your expectations are not sort of set in this game. Axis really struggled and had to have a comeback against V3. V3 pushed them all the way to the nail. So against teams like your Axis, which you expect to be middle bottom of the table, against your Crest Gaming apps who just pick up losses, doesn't matter where they are in the table. Yeah, I think V3 are going to do it. I think this split we can reset the clock at some stage. However, not versus DFM.
Initialize.
0-22 right now.
There we go. That's what I wanted. All right. How far is the streak going to go, though?
0-22.
All right. There we go. Well, we'll just lock in. It's probably going to be a loss here. If we dip the predictions, as you can tell, I'm producing and hosting, ladies and casting apparently as well. So that's why we don't have the lovely prediction graphics. But when we get Mr. Edgeworth back, I'm sure he will gladly do those predictions for us.
Yeah, I should have probably filled those in. I'm having a feeling of guilt and remorse right now.
No, I didn't ask for them because that was more for me to do. And I'm already on the desk looking at a pretty face.
Off the hook.
I think a brief moment of socials. If I'm not wrong, anyone at home who's in our Discord can also join in, right? Is that still a thing?
We're not doing predictions at the moment. I mean, in the future,
like you might want to look at the LJL Twitter account,
yes,
and the open official Discord, because if you're in there, you'll find out when we do those games.
That's actually a very good point. But to bring it back to
to what is about to happen to some
what
people.
is going to be happening. I mean, let's talk a little bit about that Axis V3 game and fill you in, Temporal, a little bit on what you missed, or the excitement that you missed. Initialize. Will V3 be able to steal 2 Barons right from underneath the nose of DetonatioN FocusMe? They got a shake of the head.
We got a shake of the head. That's kind of what I'd expect. I'd expect a bit more time.
It was an interesting game. Sorry, I had a brief spike in lag, and I'm hoping I'm still audible right now. That's a good sign. But yeah, it was a game where there were turrets down, there were Nexus turrets down. V3 were in position to win. I believe it was Aogi on the Zoe got caught. And it was just all over from a game which they managed to scrap their way and were like, actually, they're going to do it. It's finally over. The spring disaster is about to be reset. Great start, and they lose the game. And then their next match is up against DFS. It's going to be galling. And what a rough way to start the split.
Really rough way to start the split for sure. So what Sam was mostly alluding to there is, this 021 is hanging over V3. It's all you're probably thinking about if you're on this roster. Today marks the 124th day this team has been together, and they are still winless in officials.
I mean, it feels rough losing your all-star AD carry Marble, who has picked up their first win, who actually has got 2 wins. One and one. They're 1-1 at the moment. Marble's starting to get off on a better stage. Played a pretty decent center game, I'd say. So I mean, we'll have to see how that team trajectory goes. But for V3 Esports, they've just not really found an angle that works, and having bless them, having an okay showing versus Axis isn't really the team that you start going, oh, there's going to be exciting things happening. I mean, if anything, credit to Axis for actually still winning that game, even though they probably should have won it harder, or they didn't win. Now, let's come over and talk a little bit, though, about Detonation FocusMe. Because a loss against Sengoku as their first match was not how we thought this would go, Temporal. We thought they'd probably pick up a win, and if they didn't, well, I'll be honest, I thought they'd look a little bit better, personally.
Yeah, I think maybe some blues transferring over from MSI, that's fine. There are some qualifiers to this, so this is the first hurdle DFM has fell out, whereas V3 have fallen every single hurdle in this very long, drawn-out race.
They're literally doing quap, but they're falling over every 3 seconds. They reset.
They broke their leg on the start line. It was not good.
You really do. Those ankles aren't meant to bend that way. But, you know, if there is a team in the world that has prepared for DFM, that has done absolute deep mining on this DFM roster, it is Sengoku, who have had to play them so many times in high pressure situations. So we got to give the props to Sengoku and just see if DFM can dig themselves out of this hole. It's not very deep yet, but you know, we're watching, we're waiting. I'm not expecting it to be too much of an issue.
No, I mean, I wouldn't expect too much.
But also, you know, and they're knee deep in the ground right now, and you're just thinking, this is unusual. This isn't.
Is it quicksand? Right. Is it a pothole? Which one?
It could be.
I'm just loving the lag that we get the gag, and then it comes in stuttered increments, so we're not always sure which way the joke's going to go. And as he screams out in laggy hell, it's a great fun actually for us here to watch.
It can be a hot game. It should survive.
I hope none of our viewers have to deal with this in Berlin. What you guys go through is incredible.
It is beautiful, but even though it's not been beautiful for the side of V3 Esports or for Detonation FocusMe in their first matches. Obviously, for DFM, I think it's safe to say we are unanimously predicting them to win this game.
Yes.
But I would like to ask the question, are we going to see some spice? Chris Gaming Act obviously are coming out with some spice, as we've seen from the last few of their drafts. Nap especially picking up some unconventional picks. Temporal, I'm definitely going to have to pick your brain at some point about Lily at top.
It's good. It's so good. It's
incredible. You've been really weird to see years now at this point, mate. I know when you were talking about this like this time last year.
On release. It's really
yes.
It just magically slots into the meta on how DFM are actually going to approach this game. You're right. If they are super confident and they don't even count this as an official, they should, because you know you've given away an unexpected loss. Take the free win for the points. But if we're going to play it a bit looser, a bit faster, we're going to see stuff like the Zach come back through. I heard that word on broadcast earlier. I was very happy. Champion's incredible right now.
Yeah, but not when you've already got your jungler locked in.
Oh yeah, it's flexible. That's flexible. Just send it both ways. You know, if someone picks Ornn into the Zach,
top spot,
they deserve what's coming.
What was that initialized?
Who knows?
All right. Who knows? There he is.
As we're seeing the players coming on our screens at the moment, obviously we've got Evie still, Yaharong, Utapon, and Harp. And for V3 Sports, it's Washide, Unica, Yu-Gi-Oh! Dress Code, and Hotel. These are two players. Either they're highlighting at this moment in time. Key players, Utapon did absolutely nothing supposedly in their first game.
No. That's very little but auto attacking your opponent a few times to get a 3-5.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, but I mean that's kind of what happens when you play. He played Fasting Center, didn't he, in his first game?
Fasting Center into a lane that really didn't demand it.
I mean, it
Whereas
was also
Yu-Gi-Oh's got
there's
some
elements of like
decent
they had like
stats.
no engage and everything
Yeah.
else. It was a mess.
Yeah. Also getting constantly targeted and never actually getting a kill because none of the members of DFM get a kill. I don't really feel like KDA is a stat that the official stream should really be highlighting here for DFM.
I think it's for the humor. I don't think
It
we're
is funny, though.
ever going to see zeros and not applicables next to Udapon ever again. So we're taking our one chance. I'm super interested when they brought up Yu-Gi-Oh here because he's going to be the player with the biggest, I think, paradigm shift this year. Previously, like forced onto the Syndra, forced onto your defensive control mages that, you know, mitigate an approach rather than do anything else. And those mages really didn't enjoy the durability patch. They're not having a great time. Ludens is down, Syndra is down, just across the world in win rate, efficacy.
Gentlemen, we're into pick a ban phase. So initialize, you can turn off your camera and internet can begin. Take it away!
Set him free. Oh, like even doing it before we'd flashed off. This beautiful.
Oh.
Welcome back, initial.
I couldn't say see the screen, so I just went off the instructions. But that was a very odd experience. So I'm hoping we're all surviving now.
You're back. I actually can't believe it.
Okay.
From the dead.
I am. I know from the elo hell of having my camera on, but of course upload speeds being tragic and tanking my internet, I am now
So
actually, hopefully, consistently audible.
You sound great to me. And if we're looking across the bands, there is that weird pattern here with the center on top as well. That's two Yu-Gi-Oh control mages that mostly survived the durability patch. But for V3, 3 marksmen potentially coming away here. So both teams with a strict priority coming into the first phase.
Yeah, and obviously Udapon was right up there as arguably our best Zeri player in spring. Really had some great performances on it. And obviously at MSI we saw some pretty impressive Lucian out of him, which was not necessarily what we were expecting, but of course with Hart being a bit more of an aggressive laner, it did become a bit more viable for DFM. The Talia off the table, despite some nerfs, still feels like that's working. But it does lead us to a Wukong first pick, and of course that is something that DFM have been playing for a little bit, especially since that champion really rose to priority over the MSI patches.
Yeah, he was like directly buffed. Durability's been so good to him with durability stapled onto his passive. Viego as an answer is pretty common. I expect this hover to just be a lock. The champion is open and its hard counters are slightly out of meta. So unless you're picking Viego first, he's nearly always very safe. Corki coming through as well is somewhat of a surprise. This is premeditated with the Talia ban. I was expecting to see more Olafs, more Sejuanis, and other huge durability power picks that can just dominate the first phase of draft.
And of course, Corki rising up in priority again, much to many viewers' despair. But of course, once you hit those 3 items, those rockets do hit like an absolute truck. So I have to see whether Yaharong or another member of DFM have got their own ways to try and deal with that champion. Of course, currently it's a hover on the Ezreal. And it will be locked in. Udapon, a very long-time Ezreal player, and arguably, again, one of the best Ezreal players in the whole damn league, alongside Sol right now. So yeah. I'm sure he's very happy to have that one. It may well unlock Harp to either play the Karma or something that can get out of lane and impact the rest of the map.
The Ezreal Karma is still really good. You're interacting with the wave, not your opponent, and those minions did not have their health, armor, or magic resist changed.
Ooh.
Sejuani to pair. I like this a bit more. The Ezreal very risky right now. This could just be a Kaiser lock-in right here, and the bot lane will get very, very difficult for DFM regardless of the way support goes. Instead, we're going to see something more that you'd expect the Rascal Jesters to be doing. The early focus on a Renata, or instead pivoting around the support. This means they're going to try and set up... Oh, no. You know, it's the LJL. Take it away, initialize.
There it is. It was being hovered.
Shuggy. No, I got it. Take it away.
There it is. There
Why
it
did
is.
you pick that here? It makes no sense.
Leave it alone. And also, I'm saying you're doing this into Ebby, but of course, you know, like Ebby's already locked the Sejuani, so I guess it's semi.
Do you know who,
I don't even know.
Do you know who wins this initial? It's not the Nah.
I had a feeling it might not be.
It's not.
I had a feeling it might not be.
Let's. I'm waiting to see the first ban out of V3, and we could talk about how. Well, we said the Karma is the best pairing with the Ezreal. We could talk about which lane they're going to attack. It makes no sense. The top has been sacrificed. The mid jungle is already in, and it's all I've got hope for right now. Oh
As you would be able to tell from the mild hysteria coming out of my colorcaster, he's not best pleased with the current draft strategy of V3 with that Gnar pick, especially considering what it's into. And Sejuani right now has been rising as a kind of semi-prominent top laner around the world. Not a consistent thing, but it's definitely been finding its way up there as a pretty common option. And I have to agree with you. Even considering like Washidai as well is someone a lot of us have said, look, this is where V3 found the most success, however incredibly limited has been. I mean, again, reminder, 0-22 this year so far. Putting this matchup on the table feels like that slim win condition is getting a bit muted already.
It's an awful lot. They're going to pair that ban. They're going to take a real long time into the Victor.
Do I still have time for? Is he still here? Who knows?
I think we've got Sam back from Berlin. I think he's almost back. Maybe not. Maybe I spoke too soon. The Victor coming through. Just trying to mitigate that way forwards.
Definitely being...
Keep Viego open. 2 more marksmen away. They're not the ones I would have picked away from an Ezreal. So we will see now V3. They're pinched into a bit of a corner when it comes to their bottom lane. Expect to see support come through last as they try and fix this matchup in their favor.
That would be the plan. Whether it's successful or not is another matter. There's the Kai'Sa you suggested, and it's straight locked in.
It is. I think just so much more successful, really messes the play pattern of an Ezreal. It doesn't do things like the Jinx and the Xayah you see banned away, which play straight through the fight, interacting multiple members instead. So we just saw in Sengoku's victory, you undive the Ezreal, you stick to him like glue, and in the meantime, you can still interact with the front line, you can defend yourself. It's just so effective both in lane and throughout the entire game against what is considered a safe AD carry. With the Rakan coming through, it's most likely going to be a Nautilus in response from V3. The thing about Kai'Sa is she can often take a little time to come online. And when she does, she needs that help. She needs the engage. She needs the support.
Well,
that is so disrespectful.
It's all right, you're wrong. All right, you're wrong. But I mean, it's like, okay, how do I murder Corki? Let's do this.
It's like, oh, you've banned Talia. Oh no, I'm just gonna play a jumpy assassin and have as much fun.
It's also,
as
I mean, it's
possible.
locked up with Wukong and Sejuani. Like, how many people are gonna stack that Sejuani passive in like a second flat?
Sejuani's got some serious options here. All 3 lanes. Berlin is so great, Master One. I love the city. I hopefully will return there soon. I've only ever visited for the Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship. But I don't think we're going to have a World Championship of V3 mid laners. I think Yaharong is about to dismantle this Corki in a quick fashion. Don't expect to see too much action in the early levels, but once level 4 through 9, this Corki's still largely locked into lane, and he's going to have a really bad time. Steel will be taking the Wukong into the jungle. Technically a flex with the Sejuani, but those direct buffs to Wukong that we mentioned earlier, just so impactful in the jungle. Just the clear speed is incredible, and it's just so good.
In keeping with the fact that, you know, anime in 2D is a thing, I have converted myself into 2D to really get in the mood. Yes, that's how I look exactly right now. And the completely blinking stare, I won't respond to you because I'm too cool. I won't wave. I'm just going to stare. So, like, soulfully into the camera, and this is not a picture, and I'm not being saved from having to upload too much in the way of camera right now as we're preparing to go into game. So we'll stick with that one then. And thanks again to Mass1 for sorting that one out in the background and trying to save my audio here.
I don't want to say, because last time I said you sounded great for 5 seconds.
I know!
I don't want to say it, but it sounds pretty good. We're cruising right now.
We're hoping. Yeah, it's fine. Again, a little bit of when we were testing earlier, it was all fine. And then, of course, the moment we actually start doing things, it's inevitable. Someone out there in Berlin has got myself and Alex's names written down to traumatize where and where possible.
Yeah, it's rough. It's really frustrating. But here we are. It's game on. It's LJL time. Beautiful, beautiful Sunday morning, or whatever time it is where you are across the world, dear viewer.
You could be watching this on a VOD. And in fact, whenever you're watching this in the future, have a nice message from the past. I hope it's a lovely day where you are as well.
Yeah.
Whenever you are.
Might not be Sunday. Whenever and wherever. In time, space, and hopefully not the United
Galaxy
Kingdom.
far, far away.
Gosh, how it's always a question with the internet, isn't it? How long is this stuff gonna live for?
That's actually like the internet archiving is a really interesting one, especially considering
that far in the future. If comments are still a thing and they've not like made that super illegal, this is Ebby doing illegal things here to Washi.
Oh gosh,
oh, no.
That's just rude. Why have you walked up? Why is he walked up? He's got to hop first. And of course, I just give you the attack speed, which is
post hop. You do
not a
win
bad
that
idea.
trade. That's really nice. Washidai. We normally only see that adaptation in Korea, so really happy. A couple of times in the RLs
Paying
as well.
attention.
Yeah, like getting his stuff done. You know, Nar is always seen as such a lazy pick as the all-in. Okay, they're not going to continue. Just a decent trade on Taha. But yeah,
don't quite proc the plasma either.
No, like really cute. And then you know, we normally see Nar as this like lazy pick, like he never does the same. Actually being active and proactive, even on a champion like this, sign of a good top lane, a sign of someone who's not afraid to try and get the last little bit out of every champion.
Indeed, and as it stands, we have not got anything super crazy outside of a couple cute little adaptations and attempted engages there, as Tom was just highlighting for you all out there. Man does like his little micro interactions, and we are left with a micro. Yeah, literally. I have had so many conversations with you. Have you heard about this tech? I was like, no. Where did you even hear about this? Well, why don't I tell you? And it's just like 5 minutes later, this ridiculous diatribe of like, I talked to this person about this interaction in this way, and you just come out of it like, I am so much wiser. But how did you find this?
Normally it beats me in solo queue is the sad answer. As Ebby playing this lane as you're really meant to. Nah, just so like normally Big Nah is just, you know, strongest champion in the game. Steel here. He's going to use our new tech. He's going to shadow over this wall. And that is him in behind Washidai, fresh onto Mini Nah. This is going to be painful.
Definitely an angle here to be found. Just waiting for it. Ebby goes forward, misses the Arctic Assault, but will land the flail. The slow is there, and Washidai stepping forwards. He kept going. It'll force the flash. And now this Nah is in a very precarious situation.
So many options. Steel, just knowing that he can clear that one side, get out onto the lane faster. This is the thing from Wukong in this season. We're going to see more and more of the Monkey King just surprising people, getting behind. Just adding that extra bit of oomph you need to burn a flash, to take a kill down. Great to see that so early on in this game.
Absolutely decent hook, but well buffered with the Arcane Udabon, who was very ready for it. And you can see already from the way DFM be passing, pathing, well, not passing. Obviously, there's some topside focus with better setup, I think, arguably early on down there, is Hettel and Dresscode, though, taking the opportunity to be as aggressive and shoving as hard as they can, considering they know that Udapon and the Harp are somewhat on their own right now.
Yeah, it's something Sejuani just does so well that you wouldn't expect with her ratios set the way she was in jungle. It just turns out in lane, if you can get her a little bit ahead, that extra durability from the patch means you've got so much more Sejuani to hit someone with. And with such high base damage as an extra rotation, really goes.
Is it Sejuani or Bristle? How much of the durability patch actually went to Bristle rather than Sejuani?
I think Bristle's always been the heavy lifter in this relationship. But
I think that's very true. I mean, don't get me wrong. The ultimate is pretty key, and I grant you that's quite a lot of Sejuani. But everything else, there's a lot of Bristle going on.
You know, I'm the biggest fan of the Q. It does way too much damage than it should, and that's all Bristle's face. So we're definitely praising the boy.
Righty then, we are left ourselves with, again, still relatively slow. Am I here? Oh.
You're just about here.
Oh, good. I got nervous for a second because I heard robot from your end, and I was like, oh no, is it me? And I was like, it might be me, it might not be. It's like permanent fear now.
Only for a moment.
Are the robots attacking?
We've got it again now. Yaharong, he's got a few levels under his belt. This is where we still see some aggressive trades. Just that sort of again and again, jumping up on the core key. Oh, I said it was working again, didn't I, listeners? That is not what you want to do when your co-caster is struggling with internet, because it will immediately curse them to this. The robots are attacking.
And that is absolutely the...
Oh,
yeah,
back.
Nicely done, by the way. I am. It was just like you were talking about. I ended up with like a little bit of robot from you, and I was like, oh, I think that might be me, and it was me. So I waited.
It's been a good indicator so far.
Yeah, Yeah, I listen for the sounds of the robot invasions and whether I need to call John Connor again. And thus far, it's worked out pretty well. As nice little dash away there with the battle dance and fighting over this scuttle, which is now secured by V3, but DFM will swiftly roam in to at least secure more control wall coverage, even if they don't manage to get a hold of that speed shrine from the scuttle crab.
Yeah, almost had a bit of a kettle there where they could have grouped together V3, looked for something a little more explosive. See Ebby here just trying to deny the teleport from Washidai, just trying to make sure the Gnar is stuck in lane. That's why such an aggressive trade with a little health bar. He is pulling steel up. He's not going to move to the dragon initially. Ebby, this should give everything away here.
Oh, boy. Yeah, they're going to keep hopping forward. But remember, the stun straight into the ultimate. That was smoothly played by this most long-standing of top jungle duos, Ebby and Steel. They will always find you one way or another.
No escape from the man-bear-pig-monkey combo. No escape from continuous trading. Harp will take a chunk. It's not the end of the world, but with both junglers finishing off their top sides and coming down, you have to be pretty careful with your health bar. This dragon will be forfeit.
Definitely feels that way. Still, gonna get a little bit of a replay here, and we'll just see. You're right. It was the cancel on the easy back into the teleport, and Ebby baits this one so well.
Yeah, if you're looking at across the map as well, we do see Viego was in position to head towards that dragon. It's called away, goes for the wolves. Steel adapts. Cross map no longer in place. Ebby gives it away, jumps on Washidai, stacks the stun as fast as possible, chains the ultimate just to make sure the Steel has enough time to finish off the cute, fluffy, perennial top laner of the LJL.
Yep.
In
the man-bear-pig-monkey combo with the crab emo and then the dead Gnar thing is in the bot side. Harp and Udapon trying their absolute best, but it's still going to be a very dead Rakan into a smooth use of that Dredstein. Udapon trying to survive and gets away until a flash forward secures dress code. Another nice little dive there from V3.
He's looking sharp tonight. He's put on his dancing shoes, and just a great example of how Kaiser and that bot lane is able to do so much damage to an Ezreal. We're going to see Yu-Gi-Oh traded here. He's going to flash away, so will survive.
Wow.
But over that extended trade, the Ezreal does not offer more than a few Mystic shots every few seconds, and the Kaiser can just explode.
Every summoner pop from every member involved in that little fight down the bot side. Dress code, Hettel, all down their summoners, Unica down his flash, but they do make it work because DFM thought they had a little bit of an opportunity and thought they got out, but just a fantastic hook from Hettel, who's been having a few of those heat-seeking ones this game.
The timing from Unica is also impressive to just come in as DFM felt ready to commit. The exhaust keeps him alive, but dress code in such great positioning has done so much damage in the fight already. Able to take that one down and provide a tempo advantage, initialize, for V3 against DFM.
Doing very well off that. Of course, it's still going to be a little bit of a cross map because Steel takes that opportunity to start up the Herald as Udapon needs to time that well and does read it super well and gets straight on out. That was nicely done, but now needs to be back away here as a dive is very much a possibility.
Yeah, I really thought Unica would have read minds there, but Udapon going a little bit further. We'll use the True Shot Barrage to clear out the wave, minimize their losses.
Yeah.
DFM are getting priority consistently in mid. It's what's delaying V3's Dragon hit. They will start. There is a timer here where maybe DFM can go for a revenge play straight into the bottom lane. We've not got TP on mid, so
idea.
It's probably not going to happen. I really want to see which way Steel comes out of here. There is the angle.
I mean, there's so many summoners down for V3 right now as well, which does mean there is a real opportunity with the pretty heavy dive combo that DFM have between, you know, the top side of the map plus a Rakan and then Ezreal following up, right? That Herald play could get really nasty if someone stays where they shouldn't.
Yeah, it's in their back pocket, and where they go with it now with no dragon on the map, they've got a little more creative freedom. You're not so tied to the valuable things of the map. They're already gone. Instead, you can see a little bit more expression from DFM. They are shoving this top lane so fast. Ebby clearly has been playing a bit of solo queue and adapting post MSI, is already ready on these durability top lane champions.
It does feel that way. And of course, right now, gold is pretty much dead even, partly because of that really nice play in bot side that brought V3 back into it. The issue is, of course, that's that held in pocket, as we've been kind of mentioning, and just working out where that will be dropped. There's some, rumors, suggestions it might be looking towards something like a bot lane with the way Yarang was just echoing around and Steel right now double camping around the Grump. the blue buff to see whether he can start pathing down towards this mid come bot side of the map. Yujo needs to be very afraid here. That's with the package on. Doesn't use it. You can see the Yarhung was going to see whether he could force that out of the Corki before something like a dragon could be ready and willing to spawn.
Yeah, it's always the way with Yone. You never know when he's quite going to commit. You can keep doing these advantageous trades and just healing up slightly, slowly over time. Package there used just, excuse me, to clear out the wave. Rumble alt-esque. Because you don't get to hold on to it.
I have to say, like, I'm trying to work out what that was picked up for. The Herald, of course, because normally it's picked up around the fights, and I don't think there was a fight really available for it. And now Yujo needs to be very afraid as Steel and Hop are hanging around looking to see whether there's an angle in to punish his Corki.
Nothing quite found at the moment, and with Unica on the top side, this is going to be a bit of a stalemate for a little while. Neither jungler willing to commit to the play. This Herald does have to be summoned in the next minute or so. Yarhung found out Unica will engage.
Oh, that was very smooth.
Very
nicely
snazzy.
timed there with the Qs. And of course, Yarhung was a player we weren't all that impressed with at MSI. Struggled quite a lot against the international caliber competition into a big fight in topside. I'll have to talk about Yarhung a little later as Washidai forced out of lane there, but no Ignite down.
Yeah, looked a little bit closer than it was, that Ignite. We've done so much as the transformation came back through, but not quite enough to finish. Ebby will hold on to it for now. Next fight across the map will be the Dragon in a few minutes. I believe it should come just before the Herald. DFM, they're going to commit to mid. They're not. Oh, they will summon the Herald just slightly early, so that won't take the tower here, but it will guarantee the rest of the plates. It's too close. It's too fast for V3.
Oh, top side, Watchdog's gonna die. He's done. The Ignite gets it. Ebby on the Sejuani gets the solo killers in mid lane. The Herald is killed with no charge.
That's incredible. I really thought they'd get it through. Great work from V3 to pop the eye on time, and such presence from Ebby. We saw after that last trade, it's like, the Ignite not down. He couldn't quite get it. Does it again. Rinses and repeats. Sejuani just so good in the 1v1 when you can reach someone.
Mid lane there, just another little look in from Yarhung rather, but nothing to be found. We've got a little replay here now to see how this one happened in mid.
Yeah, they do catch the eye. Oh, and it's just in time. Corki firing away on rockets. Even the W across the front to add a tiny bit of extra burn. V3 throwing the kitchen sink as staying in this game.
And honestly, that's pretty well done. It meant that that gold doesn't come through there, which is great news. And on the bot side, remember, there was a fair number of those plates have gone through towards dress code. That Kai'Sa, which you said could become a little problematic if there's some good dive angles. And of course, Kai'Sa, not necessarily all the people she wants to dive onto here. It's mainly the Ezreal. Everyone else might be a little bit sad.
She's largely evasive of Sejuani and Yone as well. It's really sort of just got such an angle here where she can evade the initial big cooldowns, like the Glacial Prison, the gosh, it's not Last Breath. What is Yone's ultimate?
It's an example. It's certainly an example.
A thing. It's edgy like that. And then just turn it around and blow up at least one of these slightly squishy members. Looking at Ezreal, looking at Rakan, looking at Yone. If he can't fight back, he is not super durable. Unica here, he's under this tower. We'll have a teleport to support.
That's so smoothly timed. Yujo needs to be so afraid. In comes Steel. The Cyclone is there. Ebby might die afterwards, though, but my days, the stun makes him for one, and DFM will get first tower in mid as well. That is so nicely played. Yarhung, hats off on the teleport timing.
A trade you would take any day. Yarhung gets in, messes up Yu-Gi-Oh before they are able to cement themselves behind that tower. It just pushes DFM forwards in what has been a game way closer than any of us expected. DFM have started to show signs of life.
And the thing is, I actually don't want to say this is DFM inverted commas playing poorly. I actually think V3 have been making some really good coordinated plays.
So
but then,
much cleaner than I expected.
Right? But then this play here was just vintage DFM. When they were finding their advantages at MS the early game, it was off plays like this.
Yeah, they do catch out Unica, who's left without a teammate. Yujo doing so well to survive for so long, but when you're locked into that teleport, it just makes Yone's job so easy to dive on forwards. With the first tower gone, we can see some differences as Yarhung not giving Washidai a moment will fall away, but just another example of how the Gnar really isn't going to have a great time in the side lanes. That is now a weakness DFM are looking to exploit.
Doesn't feel like there's very many good side lane chips for V3. Looking in the inventories, depends whether Yu-Gi-Oh goes towards the Liandry's or not. I suppose that might help versus a Sejuani side lane, but I feel like you're going to want the poke elsewhere. As Utapon currently shoving this wave into the tier 2 very happily. DFM really putting the screws on as Yu-Gi-Oh in so much danger. The bop comes through. No Cyclone needed quite yet, and they just get in, get out, and that is a dead Corki with no response.
If you V3 here, oh, there's the slight response.
What?
Steal. Absolute robbery by the minion block there. They will get a tower of their own in the top side in trade. That's what it feels like to get away with daylight robbery. You know, your opponents have shown 3 members on the bot side. They're not rotating. They will finally come up a minute later to defend the tower. DFM just knowing where to turn the screws, where to push the advantage. It's great work so far to come back into this game.
I'm sure Steel will be very upset about that minion block. That was really quite aggravating, actually.
Yeah, the amount of games I've seen him steal from nowhere, you know what? The minions deserve that one. I think it is well and truly owed. What a way to come back into a mid game. V3 not losing immediately versus DFM, going slightly ahead, and now just starting to bleed a bit of that advantage back over.
Yeah, and again, this was a first v last place matchup from Spring. V3 are winless across this year in a triple round robin. They are 0-22 as it stands with the additional game loss at the beginning of the summer split so far. And they do seem to have improved, but the issue still remains, of course, that V3 always had okay early games. We saw some decent early games out of them across Spring. It's been the mid and late games where things have fallen apart, and unfortunately that mid game explosion of gold that came out of DFM making plays for multiple lanes there, a few in a row, has really hurt V3 again. And while we've seen improvement against DFM with those weaknesses still there, if shored up somewhat, it's still hurting them a little.
Yeah, slow burning issue of their side lanes. That Corki still on 0 completed items technically. It's just taking them a little bit longer to get where they're going. If you look at their counterparts across on DFM, they're ready to play. That Yone really can already dance to the best. All you need is a Zeal. All you need is the Mythic. He's just ready to dance.
And I'll take this opportunity now to go back towards that conversation about Yaharong, as I'm hoping my internet's not about to fall over.
We did go back to Berlin, but you're here again.
Okay, we're there. Good. So saying Yaharong obviously had a pretty rough MSI tournament, kind of got a bit manhandled across it, but it's really good to see this guy come back, pick up a different style of champion, and start being a proactive, dangerous member of this team, and try and learn from the pretty harsh lessons that he in particular had at MSI. And now second Herald spawn bot, and DFM just grouping up to try and shove in and get another charge here.
Yeah, we did see that difference. The veterancy of MSI international mids was quite high. The experience in the extra tournaments there. He's going to start up. Washidai will be stunned.
Oh, Washidai does get the big Meganar into the wall, but I think he's potentially just going to die as Ebby actually goes down, but it will be a 1-for-1, all things end under the Ignite. Cure that top laner for top laner trade.
Not what DFM were going for there. They will push forwards. They do control the area around the dragon now, most importantly. It's their first rotation. There's one more chance to base before this objective comes through is theirs. They hold a slight vision advantage. However, V3 have somewhat fought their way back in. They still have a control ward in the Tribush from when they push deep on bot lane, sacrifice their tier 2 tower. To see in the rotation whether it keeps them in this game. We see here just Ebby so keen to just start up on this Nod time and time again. Just the amount of damage that comes through. And even though Hop was scooped underneath, not too much danger. The change CC does punish Ebby. But DFM hold their position. And if we come back to live, actually, they've sacrificed it immediately.
Between a full tank Sejuani and a Yone, I think this thing will die.
It's so astounding. Sam's gone to the robot army.
All right, time to see. Can they make this happen? Pulling off.
We've got 2 Sams now. This is incredible.
The term I've called John Connor again. I think I'm back. Het'll taken pretty damn low, especially now the dragon's there. John Connor sorted me out. Just permanent invasions. That's what it is.
2 steals, 2
I won't start singing
initializes. That's all we need. The Baron was a lot. That was a lot. And they got V3 towards. Yeah.
This move voice over. This is really nice. And again, like the fact that's going to be a consistent threat, right? Like Sejuani plus Yone will always be able to 2-man this one, especially now they're high enough in levels and a couple items to the good, can definitely just start doing this. And now they need to have V3 constantly on and aware of what's going on. Yarong just goes in to see if he can get the 1-for-1 or just a 1-for-none. Actually, I take that back. Why would I say that's a 1-for-1? As they just murder the support. All the while, that little bit of a fight still occurring. I'm going to back away now, and I think they're just going to take the kill and back off.
They do manage to ensure that trade. Just walking up on Baron secures a takedown of its own. Will now fade back into their lanes.
Hello, Tom. Am I alive?
You are. I've still got old you in the background.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Hello.
Yeah.
As the Baron madness was happening, that was possibly not great timing for when a play-by-play needs to do the yelling thing. His Harp heads through a Hextech gate. Not going to find too much to bother him, though he's going to try and clear off this control ward before the Baron is likely aggroed and attacks him in trade. But not going to happen right now. He's back away. Still, as we stand here looking at this relatively peaceful moment, 20 minutes crested, got ourselves a little bit of time now before anything super crazy happens again, though of course I've said that, and then of course Yone and Sejuani will try and 2-man the Baron again. I guarantee it. That's just the way the caster curses work. But we are now sitting at a point where Ebby's continually trading like this. Instead, DFM decide, well, with things a little bit quieter, we've got an angle here to maybe kill Glenn, who did burn his flash, escaping from the last attempt in bot side, and that's so well timed for Udapon to turn up. As the mini-Gnar comes through, another stun's about to come out, and there's just nothing to be done. They'll get the kill, and there's no real option for responses. Yaharong, just look for the all-in on top side, on the opposite side of the map. Might now be potentially punishable if Unica and Hettel can get up there. I just don't think it's possible.
It should still be
mid lane. Just every lane at once. Every lane at once. DFM try bot, then top, and then they'll get another in mid.
Dress code a little slow to the adaptation, not realizing that from bot lane, mid lane is on the way to the Baron, which is solely in DFM's mind right now. Push it through, they push away.
Vision control.
Yuju still does hold everything here. The Baron position is one of Corki's favorites. He's got to get closer. He's got to deal some damage if they want to push off of this. DFM just burned through that objective so quickly. He's probably not going to get an option. Here we go. Here we go. He can get onto Udapon.
They just go straight over. They do get a hold of the Nautilus, but the jungler is alive. Steel is the one outside of the pit right now, but I think it's surely about to go down into the back. Goes Unica, can make it a steal, but no, they just hop straight back in and murder him. Good discipline about making sure it's not burstable range, and DFM get a load of kills and get on out.
They do manage to secure the Baron in there. A little bit of backwards and forwards. Yuju maybe not focusing the target that would have allowed him to get into the pit, into range to contest that Unica so close to a steal. Only 300 health early. But V3 try their hardest. It's not quite enough at this stage. The coast to coast bot lane to Baron from DFM secures them an advantage now. 8,000 gold. Bounties will come through, and it is now on V3 to find a way back in there, well and truly behind the game, which we saw even so much earlier, a long distant memory.
Does feel that way, and DFM in the mid game looking very contained, very controlled, until Yarong just does another one of those solo plays to come out and murder two people.
Clean and calculated. Yarong just using Hettel as a gap stop to reach Yu-Gi-Oh!
It's all but over at this point. You've lost your bot lane. You've got 5v3 and nothing left to work with. Tom, it's done.
It looked good for V3 in the early stages, but unfortunately, DFM hold on just a little too well, a little too long. And our spring champions, our MSI representatives are on the board. They have got themselves out of the hole nice and early. A little bit of a base fight still to go. Damage backwards and forwards. Dress code will just about survive. V3 aren't getting off that platform anytime soon. That is second game over to DFM. They got a 1-1 in spring.
0-23 now for V3. And it was, again, a relatively competitive early game. It just wasn't enough.
We should be happy for V3 here. This was a really good showing from them compared to our expectations, up against what should be our strongest, or at least the strongest set of teams in the league in DFM. So signs of hope in V3. And I'm looking forward, Sam, to resetting that 124-day clock real soon.
It's getting there. It's getting there. They are so close. But I think with that, it's time to either move to the desk or move to a break. And I can't remember which, because I need Lexi to tell me.
We're going to take a little break, and then we're back with either of those.
There we go. See you in a few.
See you in a few.
Yeah.
He's there, we promise. He's there.
I'm hoping.
Yeah!
Hello.
Let's go!
Success! Berlin Internet has been the bane today.
Talking of the bane, DFM from downtown Disney. That's what we like. That's what we like.
You told them where it is. Now it will be.
Early-ish game. If you had a top laner who was a Gnaw there, that was actually a coherent draft, and I'm very upset that we just decided to jam a Gnaw in on the most defended pick for reasons. I know, but it hurts every time. Every time.
And like on the other hand, like I really liked this change in draft from DFM. It was more engaged. Yeah. It was still on theme. Ebby playing a very different style of champion. All of that stuff actually looked really, really good. And Yaharong being really aggressive and proactive, yes, against V3, but a somewhat more cohesive V3 all the same. And that is much improved from what we saw in the last game. The better draft definitely helping out there.
Yeah, I think there were moments where V3 could have fought back against it, but it was Modern from DFM. Modern and Applied, and then V3 handed them an absolute corker with the... as we saw, Sejuani just went from like good to excellent really quickly. And when you hand your opponent wins like that, it's really hard to just play out the rest of the game, which was where V3 stumbled.
Bit of that.
Yeah. It was like there were two big plays there that sort of really highlight that. There was a huge gambit from V3 where they just kept Unique at bottom just for reasons, sacrificed a tier 2 for it. It's like, you got some deep vision, but DFM got the money. And then the coast to coast into Baron. Oh my goodness, that is peak DFM if I've ever seen it. It's just to show up when the objective is not under pressure, and just take everyone from one side of the map, remove the teleports, and just go all the way, fight all the champions on your road, and arrive at the objective. It was just so nice to see such a commanding play after a struggling early game.
Yeah. Yeah, again. Yeah. Yeah. I think it shows, particularly now we've seen that even in the game they lost, they were playing picks that felt at least within the current meta
We said
sphere,
the
even
words,
if it was
didn't we, Swan? We said he sounded good. We've done this. It's our fault. Those are some sauerkrauts. As the robot army once again takes Sam away.
Am I here? I think I'm back. Wait, give me a second. I can speak. I've got this moment before I'm dragged back to whatever dark dimension I'm in. Yeah, DFM playing with the meta, actually with a different style of draft. Steel looked really proactive in the early game with Ebby, and then they managed to get that across the map. That is good news. I need to see them do it against better caliber opposition, though.
Yes. I mean, it's one of those things where what will they do versus better caliber? Because we already had that match. It was versus Sengoku, and they felt a little bit disjointed. But I think
it's always been the way. I want to see them versus Jesters. Because Sengoku are clearly on the highest of highs right now. They are in the DFM deep preparation base, but DFM versus Jesters has always set the pace for our seasons early on, and I'm so excited for it.
Well, we're going to have to wait till day number 7, I believe.
Okay,
day number 7. So we'll get through the full rotation of all these teams to end us off. They begin with Sengoku, and then they end with the Jesters. I mean, I think that's rather perfect in the grand scale of how the LJL will be playing
rather poetic.
out. Yes, that's probably the better term to use, poetic. But with that said, Initialize. I think we're tagging you out for a brief moment.
I'm gonna go fight. I'm gonna go fight the internet demons, and I will let Infinite Dodge will be stepping in to the breach, so to speak. No, seriously, not that as well.
Yeah.
So if you want to be the really nicest person today, send Initialize and Nightmare a kind message on Twitter, empathizing with their struggles. Struggles they are.
So what's okay? I'm gonna mute him for a bit. I've muted him for the broadcast temporal. We salute you, Initialize and Nightmare. Thank you, gentlemen. With that said, we're going to be having Infinite Dodge stepping in for Initialize for our 4th and final game of the day, which is going to be Rascal Jesters facing off against Axis. Obviously, Axis were that team that were able to come back from actually a huge gold deficit, whereas the Jesters looking to secure themselves as a top team. You want to go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back after this break.